Hi, I'm Rebecca Downs, original music artist from Birmingham, UK. Welcome to Series 3 of my podcast, Downs Your Way, in association with Blues in Britain magazine. For further details of me, the magazine, or any of the guests, please follow the links in the show notes. In this episode, I'm talking to Chantel McGregor, virtuoso guitarist, songwriter, band leader, and touring artist, also amazing person. We spoke in series 2, so I'm looking forward to hearing what she has to say about our scene 2 years on. Right, hello guys. Today, another amazing guest, the one and only Chantel McGregor, who I really do believe is one of the best guitarists in the UK. If you haven't seen her, you've just got to. She's just unreal. Chantel, how you doing?
I'm really good. How are you, Rebecca?
I'm all right. You know, I'm keeping buoyant.
That's the only thing you can do is
I'm
keep on.
trying to keep buoyant.
We just keep floating. That's what we do.
Floating,
Like Finding Nemo.
finding Nemo. God, I love that movie. I really do. So how's things going for you at the moment? What are you doing at the minute? What's Chantel Land looking at right now?
Oh, do you know, at the minute, I'm absolutely chilling. So
Brilliant.
we've just come off this tour, which was absolutely insane. We did 29 shows in 35 days and
God.
traveled the full length and breadth of the country. And it was just like, oh my goodness me. We did over, I think it were over 6,000 miles in 5 weeks. So we're all just a bit like, by the end of it, super frazzled.
No
So
doubt.
since then, I keep every day saying, I'm going to write the appraisal for the tour and I'm going to do the adding up and all this. And basically, I sit on the couch, put Netflix on, and get through a packet of licorice flyers. So that's where I'm at.
Licorice, hang on, licorice flyers. What are they? Oh, the ones with the thing in the middle. I
Sorry,
get
I'm
you.
I'm just realized everyone's listening, not actually seeing what I'm holding up.
No,
So I'm holding up the bag of licorice flyers, which is like the sherbety stuff in the middle down a licorice tube. I've also got the packet of cherry ones here as well.
amazing. We may put this out on YouTube, by the way. Is that okay?
That's fine. Yeah, I look
That
terrible because I've been eating all these licorice flyers.
you don't
I
look
might put
terrible.
I might put the computer up a bit so it's a better angle.
You look amazing. You look fresh and youthful and amazing.
Mm.
Yeah, you
Yeah,
do.
I
You
think.
honestly do. You don't look like a woman that's been doing all them miles, I tell you.
Oh, do you know what? It's self-care. I know that sounds dead like flappy, but oh, every morning in travel lodges, having a salt bath and doing a face mask and doing an eye mask and all this. And it doesn't half help. You're ready to face like your band for one. You're ready to like get in the van with them and not like be like, "Yeah."
Kill 'em.
Yeah. So it's really good for you. It's good for them
You
too.
know what? I'd have to try that. I just I don't think I could last all those gigs, to be honest with you. Your fingers, what are the guitarist pads like on your fingers right
Oh, you
now?
know what? They're a bit I feel like they're getting a bit soft now. I don't know if you can see that. You can see them a bit scabby,
Yeah,
but
I
they're
mean, I'm
not.
not a guitarist. You can't see him actually. I'm only a rhythm player and that's a stretch.
Yeah,
But
they got
I have
really
no
hard.
idea how your fingers do hold up for that amount of time.
They're really like solid now. They feel horrible.
I kind of like it though. So I kind of like the feeling.
Quite like picking it off at the end of the tour, I must admit. I know that's
Yeah,
really gross, but
it's weird, isn't it? But yeah, what's doing, so many dates like that back to back? How's that looking now in comparison to sort of like a few years ago? Like, what's the scene like now, live for you?
it's a lot more expensive to do it now. I know that for sure. Because like the hotels, where were those 15 quid travel lodges that you used to be able to get that are now like 50 quid a night and stuff like this? So like we have 4 hotel rooms every night and it's like, you know, 200 quid a night on hotel rooms, which it were never that before.
Yeah, I remember that. I remember like you'd be able to get, and especially with gigging, a lot of the time you're not in like a
Yeah, you're not in
touristy
the city.
place. So, you're in wherever it is. So you could
Yeah.
get something nearby that was pretty
Mm.
cheap, but that seems to have gone.
completely gone now. So even like motorway travel lodges that are, on a services, you're still looking at like 50 quid a night. When we were touring, and it was just like, oh God, this is putting a big dent in it. So it's a lot more expensive. Even down to just little bits like eating on the road. You go, well, we'll go to Weatherspoons because it's cheap. We went in Weatherspoons and I was like, it's 15 quid for a curry and a pint. And that's not
Whoa.
cheap anymore. And
Is it
I was like,
really?
yeah, in Sheffield.
Bloody
No,
hell.
not
Because,
Sheffield.
yeah, that used to be like, I don't know, like a tenner or something.
Yeah. So just every little thing's gone up, and you think, you may be spending what you would have spent, maybe, I don't know, 15 quid a day by the time you've had your lunch, your tea, and a coffee or something. Now you're looking at like, 30 by the time you've had something to eat a couple of times a day, a cup coffees. It's like, yeah. So
It's a
everything's
lot.
got dearer.
It's a lot. How is it to kind of like, does it still kind of, is it financially viable? Like at the present, do you think?
It's really tricky. It's a really tricky balance. I mean, this tour for us has done better because I had a new album out. So
Mm.
obviously I had the sales from the merch.
We'll talk about that in a minute. I'm going to come back to that. Sorry, go on.
Right. I'll try not to preempt what you're going to ask me.
Oh,
So that did subsidize it a bit. But I mean, some shows you're going, I'm literally paying to do this show. I'm paying to play. By the time I've paid for a PR company to get it in the papers, Facebook adverts, my band, the hotel, the van, the fuel to put in the van. By the time you've paid that, I'm going, I'm paying like a few hundred quid to actually play this gig. I'm not being paid even to do this. I'm paying out and in the minus to do this. And you go, I can't afford to do 29 in the minus. And some of them, will subsidize, and the merch has obviously subsidized that. But you think if we had 29 shows doing that, I wouldn't be doing it again.
no, I mean, I'm hearing that sort of across the board, really.
Mm,
Because I'm always being asked, oh, why don't you play so and so, and why don't you play so and so? And a lot of the time it's because we can't make it work financially.
mm,
Um, and because, and so it's we've kind of chopped down the gigs quite considerably, sort of because of that. Obviously, it's not my only source of income, so I can kind of do that. But if
mm,
you're on a tour, you can't do that because if you've got a night off, that's an even
mm.
bigger loss, isn't it?
I mean, if
You
we
know.
take a night off, so like for example, we played Hastings, so we'd done six in a row. We did Hastings on the Sunday night, drove back to Yorkshire, had the Monday off, and then drove back to Portsmouth on the Tuesday. Because if we'd have stayed over, we'd have had another 200 quid for the travel lodges, then the per diems to pay the band because you've got to pay them for an off day.
Yeah.
You go, can't afford to have an off day.
No.
Either that or we just have to drive home and be knackered and try and get his washing done on Monday and then drive
Yeah.
back.
It's a
Yeah.
huge amount of outlay if
Mm,
you've got that day off and but my God, it makes the tour sort of a huge amount of work, especially for you that's fronting it and
mm,
that's got all the information, all the juggling to do, not just on stage, but it's everything
mm.
beforehand and after, as you say, and
Yeah.
rightly so. But yeah, it's something that we're hearing across the board that sort of all the costs have come up, but nothing's kind of come up to
These
match it,
haven't.
to even it out a little bit. And it's not any one person standalone. And if you look at like the wider media with Kate Nash talking about it, it's it's obviously across every genre because I'm hearing it from just about everyone, and it's not people just from this genre. A lovely lady called Cassiette who we kind of follow each other on Instagram, and she's an incredible sort of very heavy rock sort of metal singer who is doing really well. I know she's got the same issue, and she's sharing the Kate Nash stuff, as I am as well. So it's like it's across all the boards, isn't it? So this, what always when you said, "Oh, I've got a new album out," and that really helps the tour. I understand, and I know that's the same for me. If I have new material out, kind of helps. But it's almost like sometimes you just think, well, I don't know, like it costs so much to release an album.
Mm.
Are we, you've got a lot of albums out, Chantel, and they're all amazing. I mean, they really are. You've got so much out. It's like it's kind of a shame that that's the truth in a way, but I understand it, and I'm not knocking any of the audience. But you know what I mean by that?
Yeah, I mean, I was really worried, especially like with this album, because it's cost a lot, by the time we've paid for all the PR and everything, and because we've done vinyl and we've done splatter vinyl as well and stuff like this, and everything's added up so much. And I'm going, how is this going to recoup? Because, when we put out the last studio album, which was like 10 years ago, obviously we've done like the lockdown albums and the live album, but when we did the last studio album, like streaming wasn't as prevalent. It was like people bought more CDs and stuff like that. And I'm like going, well, what if people are not buying CDs anymore? Because cars don't have CD players in them anymore. People buy them because they're used to put them in cars. Now they can't. What if it doesn't sell as a CD thing? What if, people just go, well, I'll just stream it because it's on Spotify then and I don't have to pay. And I'm thinking, how are we ever going to recoup this if people are just going to rely on streaming? And that worried me a lot. But I don't know whether it's like because of the type of fans we have that are really loyal and lovely, but they've been so supportive. And I mean, we've had people literally come to the gig and say, I'll buy a splatter vinyl. I don't even have a record player, but I'll buy a splatter vinyl because that's the most expensive thing you've got. And I want to support you and I want to keep you doing what you do. And I'm like so like humbled and touched by that kindness and generosity. Um that we're so lucky that we've got people like that. But I think, in general, especially young people, they're not going to go and buy a CD. Why would they? They've not to play it on.
Yeah,
So
that's the issue, isn't it? I mean,
yeah,
you rightly said it's like, there's the kind of the hardcore fans that come to the gigs will kind of put that money aside to support. And vinyl is so incredibly expensive to produce
yeah,
in the first place. It's such a massive outlay. We all take a risk sort of doing it, don't we? CD's not, we still take a risk, but it's like, vinyl is next level risk. Everyone, it really is. It's so expensive to produce. So it is those hardcore fans, and it's the ones that come to the gigs. But it's such a. When did you release your album prior to that? What was the? Can you remember?
this album
No,
or
the album before that, because you said like,
the last studio
yeah,
one was
yeah, the
2000,
last studio,
that's 2015.
2015. Yeah,
So it
it's
was kind
very
of, I mean,
different.
Spotify was a thing, but it wasn't as kind of relied upon, I wouldn't have said.
Yeah, it's a lot has changed, isn't it? In
Mm.
that 10 years, like so much has changed. I think
Mm.
it's almost like, a completely different industry
It
now.
is. It's a totally different business model. Even when you look at like how record companies are run now, you know, before they were doing 360 deals, you don't really hear about them anymore. And which is a good thing. But things have changed so much in the whole industry across the board, whether that's, down to, people's habits, even people still say to me like, oh, well, COVID and we don't go out as much now and we can't afford to go out as much. And you think people got used to being at home in COVID, and also things have got a lot more expensive since then. So people are more choosy with what they spend their money on. And they have to be, I am.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
know, I wouldn't spend 100 quid on going to see a band that I want to see now because I can't afford to do it. Whereas I think before people were a bit more kind of like, oh yeah, we'll go out and spend that. We'll go out on a night out. Now you've got to be so careful with your money.
No, it's true, isn't it? And it seems, as I say, across the board. And I know a lot of the festivals have took a hit recently as well, with a lot going under this year,
Mm.
right at the last minute. I'm not going to name the names of them, but there was a few in our sector that literally, I think a week before, just pulled
Mm.
because they were going to make a huge loss, and they had been making a huge loss for a few years up to that point. And it's funny because, like, I think after COVID, we all thought, well, this is going to sort of come back with a bang. And he kind of hasn't really, has it? And I think the state of the world at the moment is not really encouraging anyone to sort
It's
of
not.
take any risks with their money as well, you know.
And it's not just the fans taking a risk as well. It's, venues, it's promoters, they don't want to take a risk because they're thinking, well, if we go and say we'll book so and so and they're on a flat fee and then people don't come out because it rains that day or it's sunny that day or there's a football match on that day, all these little tiny things or somebody else similar is playing in the same town, and they lose thousands and they can't afford to do that either. So people are just not taking any risks.
Hmm. I know, like, trying to book gigs is like talking about somebody else in similar plane nearby. Whenever I'm looking at dates, I'm thinking, oh, I'm trying to find out if anyone else has got a date in that night in sort of 50-mile radius. And because one, I don't want to intrude on their gig.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I don't want to take anyone away from them,
Yeah.
and vice versa. Like, you know, so, but it's such a balancing act because you just don't know what's
And
going
there's
to pop
always
up
someone playing.
once you've sorted the dates. You're
Yeah.
like, oh, like, you know, you
Yeah.
try to balance it out because it's like bald men fighting over a comb, isn't it? Sometimes, you know.
Yeah. It's so hard. And even down to like if you've got a venue and they've got a similar artist or somebody that's sort of the same sort of audience people and it's the previous week, that's going to affect your ticket sales because people will go, well, we've only got X amount this week. We can't afford to go and spend 20 quid on that one and 20 quid on that one. And, so they'll pick which one they want to go see. And
Mm.
that's hard. And I think as musicians, we have this complex where we take that as a personal that, oh God, nobody's, oh, we've sold 5 tickets less than we did last time. There must be something wrong. And it's literally you can't think that way. I've kind of come to the terms of you cannot think that way because it's not down to you. It could literally be, Strictly Come Dancing finals on telly and people have decided they want to stay in and watch that night.
Yeah.
Or some ridiculous thing like that, or they've been to see another artist the previous night and spent up. So
Or
you
they
can't,
haven't noticed that you're on.
exactly, so many people have, I mean, literally the finale gig in Cambridge, people they had it in the phones as like diary dates, and then we did the gig, and I've seen them this last week, and they've gone, "When's your gig in Cambridge?" And I'm like, "Last Thursday," and they're like, "Ah, yeah, didn't spot that. Yeah, forgot about it, didn't come." And I'm like thinking, have I offended this person? Why have they not come to the gig? They said they were
Mm.
coming. And you go through this whole self-doubt and blame thing. And
Yeah.
you're like, it's literally that they were in the pub and they forgot about it.
Yeah. I mean, I had tickets to a comedy show, you know, a really big one. Not that I'd paid loads for it, and I'd got it as an alert on my phone. Maybe the alert came on when I was doing something, and I swiped it off because I was doing something. Then I thought, oh my God, I've booked a gig on the same night.
Yeah,
Oh, so I gave the tickets away. So it's
yeah.
like, you know, it's just one of them things, isn't it? But
Mm,
that sort of taking it personally thing, I mean, you know, I try not to, although it's really hard because I know it's not personal, but it's this industry is kind of a, I'm not going to swear, but it's kind of a head mess around. I was going to say another word, but
yeah.
it's, and how do you cope with that? With like the demands of like the social media and like there's so much that needs your attention all the while.
Yeah. I
It's
mean,
like,
I
I don't know how I cope.
don't
I really
cope.
don't.
I just don't cope with it. No, I get really frazzled. I really do. Which I hide very well on social media. My social media is full of positivity and, brilliant gig and everything was wonderful and all life is rosy. And it's like, there's things that go on behind the scenes on tour and stuff that you just don't talk about. I mean, one night we did the gig, I think it was Bury St Edmunds, and my mum wanted a cup of tea from McDonald's. So it was like 2 in the morning, got her a cup of tea, and they hadn't put the lid on properly. So I walked across the car park, the lid came off, the thing squeezed, and I got boiling, scalded all over my hands off scalding hot tea. And literally, I'd burnt all my hands. And this was right in the middle of the tour in a run of 6. And I'm going, I can't even move my hands. I can't sleep for crying because it was so painful. But the next morning on social media, I didn't mention it. I didn't comment. I just literally like, great gig last night. Oh, looking forward to tonight's gig. And secretly thinking, I can't bend my hand at the moment. But you keep everything positive because that's your job. Nobody wants to listen to you moan. So you just put a smile on your face and get on with it. But it is hard and it is a lot of work. And your question of how do you not get frazzled? Well, you just do. You get frazzled. You get frazzled and then you breathe through it and you try and resolve it and go, yeah, try and chill out a bit and have a salt bath, put the car map on,
And a face mask,
and a
which
face mask
one
and
of
an
these
eye bag mask and just go, yeah, and count down how many you've got left till you can have a bath for longer than 20 minutes.
Yeah. And it's not that we're moaning, and I know, like, and I've said this on every single one that I've done so far, and I'll probably say it for all of them, because it's not that we're moaning. It's just that we're one, saying thank you to all the people that still come out and support us. Like, we bloody love you more than we can say. You
Yep.
are amazing, and there's people out there, and I know, coming to your gig, and people are supporting you to the nth degree,
Mm.
and those are the, God, we really appreciate it. We're just trying to, like, we don't want to moan about it on social media all the time, because we know people have got issues and all the rest of it, and they've got their own stuff to deal with. We're just trying to, like, just kind of just talk a bit more honestly, like, that's it. So we don't want to
Mm.
upset anyone by these. We just want to sort of talk a bit more honestly, really. That's
Yeah,
it. That's it.
yeah.
You adore what you do. You've been doing it since you was a tiny little dot. I know we spoke about that last
Mm.
time, and you really are just, when I saw you play live, I and this is absolutely from the heart. Like, your guitar playing is just, I've never seen nothing like that.
Thank you.
Because
Not
it
quite
was
what
like,
we
and I
said.
know it's hard to take compliments sometimes, but it's
I'm
like,
rubbish at taking compliments. I'm like, oh.
but it's, I've never seen anything so organic and so free.
Yeah.
Like, I've seen great guitar players, don't get me wrong. Like,
Mm.
I saw Bonnie Raitt the other night, it's friggin'
Oh, I'm
awesome,
so jealous. She's
But like,
incredible.
I just don't think there's a comparison to you as a guitar player. And I really, really mean that from the heart.
Mm.
Like, I know that all your solos they're just organic every night. How the hell do you do that, woman? I just, my God, please, guys,
It's
go and see this
it's all the
woman.
stress. That's what it is. It's all the frazzling stress, and you just
But
bottle it all up and then play guitar.
that is such an unbelievable talent. I mean, it really is, to be that organic every night. It's just like, that actually just blows the top off my mind. It really does. You know, it's crazy that people aren't, like, you're not playing stadiums. But I know we're sort of living in a different era, but you really are incredible. Want you to really know that. I'm a massive fan anyway, but it's true.
Make me red.
But
Make
oh,
me red
go
as my
red, it's
t-shirt.
fine. Go red.
Make me red as my t-shirt.
Go red. Do you still have, like, does it still feel exciting to you? You go on the stage, you
Yeah,
feel it's still
yeah,
like that. It still
yeah,
feels like that.
yeah. That bit on stage, that hour and a half on stage, is just like, this is why I do it. This is why I've sat for 6 hours in a boiling hot van and lived on Greg's pasties. This is what it's for. And that's the point of it, is the hour and a half on stage and seeing the fans and seeing what joy it brings to them and how it affects them. I mean, these songs are quite deep and stuff that I've been writing, and these are things that people can connect with, and they're helping people, and you go, well, that's why I do it. To have somebody come up at end of gig and say, I really love Echoes and it really resonates with me and it reminds me of this. And you go, well, yeah, that's why I do it. That's
Mm.
what makes it worthwhile. To me, that's my reason for it.
Yeah, it's Sorry said something similar about, and I agree totally. it's like you have to, even though sometimes I have a bit of a mental breakdown about it. You just have to. There's no. It's like you can't leave it alone. You know what I
No,
mean? It's you.
yeah. It's part of you. I mean, it's been part of me since forever. So it's like, I mean, I was chatting with a friend the other day who's a surgeon, and I would just sort of saying, there's no else I can do. And he's like, well, there's loads of things you could do if you didn't want to do it. Bright, you could do other things, and he offered me a job. But I think it was the first time I met him, he offered me a job. But yeah, and I'm like, I don't feel like there's anything else that I could do because, I don't want to teach. It's just not my
Mm.
thing. I wouldn't be a good teacher. You know, you're an amazing teacher, but I couldn't do it. I'd be rubbish at it. I don't have the patience.
I don't know. I think you'd be pretty good, to be honest with
I'd be
you.
terrible. I don't mind like talking about industry stuff and that, but actual music stuff, I'd be terrible at teaching. And I wouldn't want to inflict my naff teaching on students either. I fear that it'd put them off for life or something. So, I was going through this thing of there's nothing else that I can do. Oh my God. And then I'd kind of like, then they asked me the question and says, well, is there anything else you'd want to do? And I was like, no, actually, there isn't, because this is what I do. This is what I've always done.
Mm.
And, this is what I've been brought up doing. So what else could I do? But yeah,
It's that's kind of it's you it is in your DNA, and it's there's that's it, isn't it? That's the way it is. I
you
mean, it
just,
really is. So how important is like like I think for me, like the Facebook group and the email subscribers are like they're like the gems of everything for me. They are, that hardcore um followers. I hate the word fans, to be honest. It's something I've always
I
hated.
don't like that word.
It just feels to me, it feels a bit icky
Yeah.
to me, but anyway, they're
Do you know,
wonderful people. I'll just,
yeah,
that's
fans
it.
always feels to me like an us and them. It makes it feel like a
Exactly.
separation and I don't like it.
Exactly. I
Um,
hate it.
yeah,
That's
I,
why I
I
kept
never use it. I don't like it.
I totally agree. That's why I still the group that I think it was Ian started. I've still left it as friends of Rebecca
Yeah,
because it's like 'cause to me they are friends. Like those are the
yeah,
hardcore friends. How important is that sort of community hardcore to you? I know we discussed it a bit about the gigs, but like how important are they?
massive. It's literally everything. And it is a community, that's the thing. I mean, I still get people coming up to me at gigs that watched like the Shed Session live streams in lockdown. And they sort of like say, you got us through lockdown because you gave us a sense of community. We've made so many friends that we've met up with now in real life that we'd never met before. And they've met up at gigs and stuff because they'd get chatting about utter daft stuff on the Shed Session stuff. They'd all be chatting to each other and making friendships, and it became a community. And I think that's part of what makes music wonderful is it brings people together and it makes people unite over something that everybody enjoys. Oh, you hope everybody enjoys.
I'm sure they do. That's
um,
amazing though, isn't it?
yeah, and
That
it
that
is it's a really special thing, I think. And I do think like the Facebook friendship groups and chat groups and stuff like this, and the mailing list stuff, it just keeps everybody connected and it's really lovely.
because I think there's a lot about social media that is horrible for artists, just like that comparison all the while. Um, which, I'm always telling the students try not to fall into that because somebody's journey is their own journey. It's got nothing to do with you. Their
Mm.
success or failure is not a reflection, on you, or what you perceive their success or failure to be is not a reflection on you. But it is like, that kind of comparative sort of battleground for some people, and I think it's quite a lot of people are talking about sort of social media burnout and stuff like that. I mean, do you ever feel just like switching the whole damn thing off? Or...
Yep. Often.
In fact, I'm going to switch off this podcast.
Beep.
Bang.
No, I do. And some days I don't even look at it. And it's, I mean, I get a lot of messages and a lot of people that are friends now that message me. And I might take a while to get back to them because literally if I'm going out or if I'm going on holiday somewhere, I'm not going to take my phone out and be like checking Facebook and looking at messages and replying because it's like I'm living my life. I want to go and enjoy that, not
Mm.
sit with my nose pressed against my phone. It's bad enough having to do that all the time normally, without, when you ain't got a gig. Um, and
Do you feel guilty when you don't, though? Or do you
I
sort of just
feel
put it away?
no, I get this weird annoying thing that's like this week because we've come off the tour and I've just been like, right, I'm gonna flop because I've literally had 4 hours sleep every night for the last 5 weeks. And I'm just gonna sleep and I'm gonna chill out and I'm gonna watch films and I'm gonna eat licorice flyers and I'm not gonna do anything. And then like I get this guilt thing where it's like I should be doing something constructive. I should be writing the appraisal. I should be doing the account thing for it. I should be doing some social media stuff. And it's like, well, it doesn't need doing today. It'll wait. It'll wait till tomorrow. And I get this guilt and then I'd rationalize it myself going, just chill out. You've got a few weeks off now. Just chill out and sit back for a bit because you've worked really hard for the last like year getting this album done. And then, I mean, even before the tour, we were rehearsing like I think we did a 6-day stint of 6 hours a day in the days leading up to going on the first show.
Bloody
And
hell.
I was like, right, so I've got to sing for 6 hours a day every day for 6 days and then do 3 shows in a row, then have one day off and then do 6 shows in a row and do that like every week for 5 weeks. And I was flapping, going, is my voice going to last this? And, am I going to get through this and stuff? But it is part of that thing of once that's done now, it's like, right, just chill out a bit and switch Facebook off. There's
Yeah.
nothing to be on Facebook for at the moment for me. It's like, well, I don't want to doom scroll about awful things that's happening in the world. And, the most I want to look at is cats. That's all I want to
Oh,
see on my social
cats and
media.
cats and dogs.
Yeah.
I'll scroll them every day of the week.
Yeah, that's all I want to see on my social media right now
That's
is
it. If
animals
anyone's, got any
and
photos of
jokes
cats and dogs, just send them to Chantel.
and my furry pictures. It's fine.
It is. It's like they're the best, aren't they?
Yeah,
They just let us breathe for a minute. But
yeah,
it's like, yeah, there's so much. I think, it's like years ago, and when I used to talk to Tony from Magnum, bless him, now he's passed on, but it was like he said, like, because there was sort of heritage act, they'd record the album, release the album, tour the album, take time off.
mm,
No, no social media, no doing it was just that was it.
yeah,
Job done for
mm,
that time period.
mm,
But I think more and more, even with like super successful pop artists like bloody Chapel Roan, who said, "Oh, I need a break. I need a break. I'm
mm,
dying. I need a break." Not too long ago. It's different. They kind of want you to be on 24/7. Doesn't matter
yeah,
if you're on tour. Doesn't matter if you're off tour. Doesn't matter. Oh no, you still need to be creating that content,
yeah,
else people are going to forget about you. And I think I don't know about you, but I do feel that pressure. But then I
mm.
think people on our scene are kind of different. Like the hardcore followers are kind of different. I don't think they're going to forget us just because we haven't
No, they're not.
posted for a week.
No, they're fine. I think the problem is getting to new people, um, especially younger people, because there is this kind of like mentality of this TikTok generation that everything has to be in your face and stimulating your brain within 30 seconds. And if you've not had a post every single day, you've forgotten about. And it's like, well, that's not about music. That's about content. And to me, that's not why I do this. I don't do this because I want likes. That's not my reason for, being in because I want some ticks on my thing or extra likes or whatever. My reason for being is to make music
Mm.
and people enjoy it. And it doesn't need to be within 30 seconds that they go, oh, yeah, I love this. This is great. Because it's like, I don't think Pink Floyd ever turned around and says, oh, God, we've got to hit them within 30 seconds. And, if they don't love it within 30 seconds, they've scrapped it. They've ripped up the vine, you know. it wasn't a thing. It were about music, and to me, that's why I do this. It's not about, getting on TikTok with some weird dance video or whatever. Um,
About the art, isn't it?
yeah, and I think that's the difference. Is to me, it's about the creativity and the art and the music and everything. But I think I think getting to new people because they've become so kind of like programmed to think in this way that, well, it's got to be accessible within 30 seconds. We've got to understand it within 30 seconds. And we have to be entertained within 30 seconds. So we have to have content constantly being rammed down as throats. And it's like, well, as a musician, you're not going to do that. There ain't time in a day to do multiple videos to get on TikTok within, every single day. And if you have got time to do that, you're not out on tour because you sat at home videoing yourself. And and what's the quality of the content if all you're doing is churning out video after video of you whittling away in your bedroom or whatever? To me, it's like, well, what's point? There's no point to that. It's not musicality. It's not, it's not creativity. It's just content. And that doesn't really interest me. I don't even watch it myself. Again, cats. I'd rather watch cat videos than
Mm.
music videos.
It's so weird, isn't it? Because it's like, and I know from sort of researching it for a younger demographic for the students that, I can't remember the exact figure because my brain doesn't retain information like that. But, you know, it was so many hours of short form
Mm,
content per week. A huge amount. It wasn't just like, oh, 5 videos a week. It was something like 30, you know. Um, for a new artist to aim at that sort of demographic that is younger, that is on social media, Instagram and TikTok all the time. And I'm looking at some of the students that are kind of, I think there's some that I've taught that are doing really, really well at that, and I can see how hard they're working, but yet I can see that the grind is real.
mm,
I'm having messages from them. I'm not, we're on summer now, but we're not getting above this certain number. What do you think we can do to reach, and it's just, and I just think trouble is there's such a lot of content out there.
yeah.
It's a lot of it is to do, and I know some have sort of said, well, look at this artist. Well, how can I replicate that? And it's like, yeah, but immediately that artist I can see has had a lot of financial backing, so you can't really replicate that.
Mm,
Um, so it's just, yeah, incredible hard work.
mm,
But I think that is a problem, especially with like the rock, sort of rock blues. I don't know what, progressive rock, that
mm,
kind of, the scenes that we're sort of in,
mm.
of reaching new people,
Yeah,
because everything is a financial investment, isn't it? And not just like a little one, but
a
a
massive one.
massive financial investment.
Yeah, it
Um,
is. And I don't know what the answer is. If I knew what the answer is, I'd be bottling it. But it's, you just do what you can do. But, I just think the social media thing, it's like your students, they put so much time and effort into the social media and they stress themselves out with, well, I'm not getting these numbers and how do I get more? And if they don't post for a week, it's so fickle that they're forgotten about. And you
yeah,
think, you've got to be consistent and keep that up forever to make yourself still current. And to me, that's just bonkers. It's like, what if you want to take a week off? What if you just absolutely get fried your brain with social media and you just want to go, do you know what? I'm not going to look at social media because it's just a bit full of negativity and it's a bit naff. Why would I want
yeah,
to do that? And then you're forgotten about, and then you're worried that you've forgotten about, and then you stress about that. And to me, it's just a big mind bend.
yeah.
That's the
I mean,
word.
you can swear if you want.
I don't
I'm
want.
like the
It's
biggest
fine.
swearer in the world, but I do try not to. But I'm a terrible swearer, I must admit.
Yeah.
But
But
yeah,
yeah,
and
it's
I'm
hard.
always really honest with them and say, I think you're going to have a portfolio career.
Yeah.
You're going to have to do separate things until maybe you could get to that point where you are
Mm,
touring and making money. I think
Yeah.
you've got to look at several different options. I don't, and unfortunately, I think because they've grown up in the era of sort of X Factor and social media, kind of seems more accessible in a way,
Mm.
but it's not.
But
It's still very
it's
much out of
not.
reach.
And the silly thing is that the people that are, putting this content out and the social media influencers, they're not putting it out themselves. They're not, they're literally, they've got people doing it for them because they can afford to pay them. And
Mm.
it's like you're competing with somebody who's already got a load of money, paying for a team of people to upload this stuff and write the captions and do all this. And you're expecting to compare yourself to that. And it's like, just don't compare yourself to anybody. Just do your best at what you can do.
Do you think? I think
Mm.
that's exactly right. I mean, I've just realised that I'm wearing this T-shirt when I went to
Oh, I
see
love her.
Melissa Etheridge in London. You know, she
Oh,
played just like coming back to like what we're talking about gigs and everything, and she played one gig in the UK, just
blimey.
one gig, Shepherd's Bush Empire, and it
Mm.
was not sold out. There was a lot of people
Really?
there. Don't get me wrong,
I
you
thought that
know,
could have sold out.
but and you just think there's something going on in it at the moment. And I know she never quite hit this country like she did in America, but you still think, because she did loads in Europe,
Mm.
and you think there's something, and I know it's happening all over, but I think in the UK, there's something kind of a little bit stagnant about what's happening at the moment with gig going, but
Mm.
it's down to so many factors. It's just if it's affecting an artist of like that level, she's doing like one show and that's it. You know, it's
Mm.
like wow,
Yeah.
that's mm,
Says a lot, doesn't it?
yeah, that's maybe not that good. You
No,
know,
no.
um, and I know Bonnie Raitt. You know, I've just been to see her recently, and and I know it probably was sold out eventually, but
Mm.
I kept because social media is so bad that because I'd already
Constant
bought the
adverts.
ticket, it kept
Yeah.
hitting me with adverts. And you
Yeah.
think, I've already bought the ticket. But that's how sometimes social media advertising doesn't work. You know, you're
Yeah.
hitting somebody that's already bought the goddamn ticket.
Yeah.
And I can remember thinking, bloody hell, you're having to advertise Bonnie Raitt.
Mm. Exactly.
What? Like,
Yeah.
I'd have thought those tickets would have sold themselves. You wouldn't have had
Yeah.
to pay to advertise that.
No, it's the way of the, it's just the
Mad.
way of the market at the moment. There's, Oasis will probably sell out and Black Sabbath will probably already sold out. But, you know, I think I think people are going, well, we'll spend 200 quid on a ticket to see Black Sabbath or whatever, because it might be the last time. And, we'll see Oasis and we'll spend 300 quid on that. But
Or
when it
more.
comes to, or probably a lot more. But when it comes to Melissa Etheridge, that will maybe what, 40 quid, something like that, 40, 50
Yeah, I
quid?
don't think it was even that, actually.
Probably not even that. Or Bonnie Raitt, that's probably 50 quid. And people don't bother. They just go, oh, well, no, we'll pay and see, Oasis and we'll spend 300 or 400 quid on that. And it comes down to every single level. It's, well, we won't go to see Chantel this time because, well, she'll be back next year and it's 20 quid. Ooh. And you think, that's the reason why we won't be going to places next year, because people have gone, well, we'll give it a miss this time. We'll catch her next time. And then the moan when you don't go back. And, you know, and I don't know if you're getting this thing with like pre-sale tickets. It's this vicious cycle. Sorry,
Yes.
I'm gonna rant now,
No,
aren't
no, go for it. Go, especially pre-sale tickets. Please do
I?
continue.
Pre-sale tickets. We get in like venues moaning and going, oh well, it's a pre-sales. It's what, 2 months to the gig, and pre-sales are not doing great. And it's like it's 2 months before the gig. I wouldn't buy tickets unless it was somebody that I wanted front row seats to see, or really good seats. I won't buy tickets 2 months in advance, because who's to say that the venue's not going to go bust, or the band's, going to be still gigging,
Yeah.
or the gig don't get pulled for whatever reason. And it is that kind of like mentality, and I'm as bad for it. But I think it's this vicious cycle of people going, well, we won't buy in advance in case the gig gets pulled, but then the gig gets pulled because people aren't bought in advance. I mean, touch wood, and luckily we haven't had any pulled. But we've had like 2 months before gigs on this tour, people, venues going, oh, we're really worried. It's only done, 40 tickets and stuff. And it's like, it's 2 months to go. The press hasn't even gone out on it yet. You can't expect it to sell out instantly as soon as it's gone on sale, and people do leave it late in the day to buy things.
Mm. Yeah,
But I don't.
I think that's a massive issue, isn't it?
And I
It's
don't know what
just,
the answer to that is either, because I always say, "Oh, please buy your tickets in advance and everything," but I understand why people don't, and I can totally get it. I wouldn't.
mm. No,
Um,
no, I'm always like, if you can buy them in advance, please do. It really
mm,
helps. And I've had exactly the same, or we haven't sold many tickets and it's a month to go or something. And I'm like, well, and you sort of in this juggling act of, you go on social media and try and get a few more pre-sales so that the gig actually happens, because deep inside that potentially there's going to be people buy them like the week before,
yeah,
because they know it's kind of going ahead at that point, but the promoter really wants to pull it,
yeah,
and it's like a pull and push between you and them to
mm,
try and get them to sort of hold off.
mm,
So a lot of the time, because we get the flack if we have to pull a gig,
mm,
um and we never want to, but a lot, it's out of our hands a lot of the
yeah.
time.
It's not our
Nothing we
choice.
can do.
I mean, as I say, touch wood, it's not happened for us, but you see so many bands, and it literally, they're even putting on there that it's due to poor ticket sales, and I just feel really sad that, you know, it's all the behind the scenes stuff as well. If a gig gets pulled and you've paid, 100 and odd quid for PR, and you've paid 200 quid for hotel rooms that are non-refundable,
Yep.
so you're losing, potentially over 300 quid because a gig's being pulled. The venue ain't going to give you that money. They're just going to say, well, that's life. We've paid for some posters printing or paid for PR or whatever. And it does, unfortunately, falls on the band that they lose the 300 quid.
Yeah.
Um,
And all the effort that they've put into that as well,
mm,
non-paid, for all the social media and all the rest of it that they've been, working behind, squirreling away in the scenes,
yeah,
trying to make that gig work. Although I get it with the promoters, and I'm not knocking them either. Like,
no,
it
I
must be a
understand that.
bloody nightmare to like, because they've got the same juggling act.
Mm,
But it is, I, but I really appreciate the honesty of a lot of people now, because it didn't happen years ago. People would pull it due to unforeseen circumstances,
mm,
but now people are actually saying, "Oh, actually, it is due to low ticket sales." Because I think
mm,
that can only be a positive thing in a way, because it does highlight the fact that pre-sales are so important, even
mm,
if we totally understand why some people don't want to go
yeah,
for the pre-sale
yeah.
option. It is so important.
Yeah, I mean
Um,
it's not difficult, and I get every single aspect of it. I get the promoters or the venues perspective. I get the fans perspective 1,000,000%, because I'm the same. But it's just really hard, and I don't know what the solution is. I don't know if there is one other than just encouraging people, if they can, to buy in advance,
hmm.
and hope that resolves a whole cycle of nightmares.
Yeah, absolutely. And I
Mm,
keep telling people as well, like, you know, all the sort of sharing that they do online, like
mm,
if they can't come to your gig, maybe just share the event, like just even
yeah,
just little things like that. Just like they might they might take 1 second for somebody to do, but actually
it
really
makes a
does
massive
help, like get the word out, just like
mm,
little tiny things like that, because
yeah,
the algorithms on all of these platforms now are basically squashing every post unless you pay for it.
yeah.
That's just
The
because
fact.
they've got to make money, because Facebook is free and all the rest of it, and
Mm,
Instagram and all the rest of it. No matter what you think of Meta and the whole stuff,
mm,
it exists
yeah,
again to make money, and
mm,
that's how it makes money. So, and the
yeah,
more it's been popular, the more it evolves the algorithm that way to squash things. The only
yeah,
way you can beat that is by people sharing it. So if you share stuff, it really helps us.
yeah.
That's just the thing.
It
So,
really does.
so this new album that you've got out, and you said it was incredibly personal,
Mm,
and there's a lot of stuff on there, and that's got a really personal element for you. Not every song's personal to us, but some more than others, I think, with their message. So tell us a bit about the album, just a little bit about what's on there and what people can
Yeah,
expect.
I mean, it is. It's
It's
prog.
out there. Let's,
It's out there. Sometimes it's on Spotify.
on Spotify, people.
Yeah, it's just been a really personal record, basically. That there's songs about when I nearly lost mum. There's songs about things that I've gone through recently. It's just stuff that's really just personal to me, and just stuff because I've always in the past written about, books or films that I've watched or experiences that I've watched other people go through, and never kind of ever delved into my own emotions with things. I'm not a person that sort of like puts it all out there. I'm like, I put things in a box, I don't deal with it, and that's fine because that's my way of like grieving or dealing with stuff. I just don't deal with it.
Yeah.
Um, and that's just my coping mechanism generally. But with this album, it was like, do you know what? Actually, I've gone through some really crappy things over the last few years. So I think I probably do need to write about these things. And I did. And it was a bit cathartic and it was a bit traumatic in places. And trying to sing some of the songs in the studio when it came to the proper recording bit was like stand and cry for half an hour and then try and compose yourself and try and sing echoes and and it was hard. And in some ways I regret that a little bit because it has made things harder. So, on the tour, the day that the cat died, trying to sing one of the songs that was like, quite emotional. And it was like, I can't sing this because I'm really upset about my cat dying, which sounds daft, but
It's not daft at all.
it's a massive thing for me. And that was really hard to sing. And I thought, God, I've written all these emotional songs that I can't sing now. So yeah, in a way, I was like, oh, why did I do that? But then after that point, I was like, do you know what? I did that because I needed to do that. I needed to say these things, and I needed other people also needed that. They needed that kind of connection that they can listen to these songs and associate with their feelings of the things that I've written as well. So I think it was a really good thing to do, but difficult.
Yeah, I'd never realised that this was the first album that it was kind of about your own personal
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, other bits
thing.
like Home and stuff on the previous album were
Yeah,
they were, they're emotional songs. Anesthetize, it's an emotional song, but it was about, drug addiction that I've watched,
yeah.
something about. And it's like, well, I can't associate with that. Most I'm addicted to chocolate and licorice flyers. So how do
I understand
you
that.
know? I can't write about personal experience of something that, something so horrific. So, but I did want to write a song about it because it does affect so many people. And I needed it to be a song that was empathetic and, emotional, but without being fake, if that
Yeah,
makes sense. So,
yeah.
yeah, previously that's always been kind of my method of writing. Whereas this time it was like, no, I'm writing about things that have happened over the last couple of years and crappy things that have happened and still happening and stuff like that. So yeah, that's what I
Well,
wrote
for
about.
what it's worth, I think, like, although it's hard to like make comparisons about songs and albums sometimes, I think, but I think, these songs really do massively resonate, you know. I
Mm,
really, really do think, you know, all of that sort of emotion sort of does translate across and, that, it has a massive impact on the listener.
yeah.
So, and as you say, like people, it's a connection and, I've felt that when I've
Mm,
listened to those songs and they, it really does have that impact it did on me. So please, everyone, go and listen to Chantel's new album.
thank you.
Again, I'll go on about her being an amazing guitarist, but she's also a bloody amazing songwriter and singer as well. I mean, is there no end to this woman's talents, for the love of God?
Can't iron and I can't sew.
That's
So
fine. We'll take that because you've got everything else, so we'll take that. It's not a problem. Get some other bugger to do it for you. So, what's happening? Like everything you've had this bloody huge, massive, ridiculous tour, and the album's out and it's flying around. What is next on the horizon after a break? What's happening in Chantel land?
So gigging again starts in August. We're doing the lamp, in fact, which will be lovely. So we're doing that. I've got
When are you
another
doing the lamp? Can you remember the date on that? Or the
uh,
month?
15th of August, I think.
15th of August, people, the lamp in Dudley. For the love
Think.
of God, go and see Chantel.
Yeah, got that. Yeah, just a few more gigs. I want to start writing the next album.
Is
Um,
it going to be from an emotional? Is it going to be from a personal standpoint, do you
I
think?
don't know, because it's really difficult because it's like, well, I've said everything on this album kind of thing. I've done the Scabby Ex-Boyfriend song and I've done the heart-wrenching, you know,
Is it
broken.
called Scabby Ex-Boyfriend?
No, it's called Broken Heartless Liar.
There you go. Well, there you go, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh, on my
Brackets, Scabby Ex-Boyfriend. I thank you.
So yeah, I've kind of, do you know what I mean? I've kind of like covered the heartbreak. I've covered the grief of nearly losing mum. I've covered the things that's going on in my life. I've covered, all these different things. And it's like, well, you can't really just do that over and over and over because that's just boring. So I don't know what I'm going to do next. I might go back to my, outside looking in perspective of writing. Um, yeah, all the rubbish films I'm watching on Netflix, I might write about them.
Just as a quick aside, how do you like what normally comes first with your songwriting? Because you're such an amazing guitarist. Is it normally a riff or is it the two, or what is it like as a general sort of
I mean,
thing with you?
this time it was the music that came first, and then the lyrics afterwards.
Okay.
But yeah, it's generally the music first. But I do sometimes just scribble down like little bits that I'm thinking, and
Mm,
if something just pops into my head or somebody says something really cool, I think, oh, actually, I love that.
mm, mm.
um, but yeah, it tends to be the music first.
Sorry, I don't think I'd asked that before, and I was just really interested to know, like, because everyone is slightly different. So I won't keep you much longer. But so if you'd kind of got like my little students in a room, what advice would you give them? Like a grassroots artist, what advice would you give them apart from
Uh,
don't do it?
don't
Sorry,
do
go on.
it. Go get a different job. No, it won't be that. Do you know what I think it would be? Is enjoy it and do it for enjoyment. You can do it as a job. It is doable as a job, and you can make a career out of it that's successful, but you have to be prepared to work your bum off. Because it is a 24/7, 25/7 job that
Yeah.
never stops. You're up at the crack of dawn, leaving for a gig at 7 o'clock, you're getting back at 5 the next morning, and getting back up to do it all again at 9 o'clock. It's literally 24/7. And you know, you get in a van and you're doing the admin on your laptop, or you're designing a t-shirt, or it's all the time, it's constant, and you have to be prepared for that. But don't forget why you do it in the first place, which is because you enjoy playing and writing and creating, because that's the whole point of it. And I think that gets somewhat lost sometimes because you are doing all the other stuff and it is so intense and it gets forgotten about does the reason why you do it. Um, and to me, that the reminder of that is every time I step on stage and go, oh yeah, I remember now. Yeah, it was worth sitting in a van for 6 hours and doing all the admin all the way there and whatever. It's that first chord that you strum and you go, ah yeah, now I remember. And to me, that's the thing that I tell students is just never forget why you started doing it. And it's because you enjoyed playing or creating. And, just keep it fun. And if you do get stressed out, just take a breath and step back from it and go, okay, right, I need to just, you know, cut this down a little bit and make this digestible. Because it is so easy to get overwhelmed with everything, that you just need to sometimes just step back and go, okay, like how do I make this work, and chop it up a bit to make it chewable.
Well,
And
absolutely.
that's the best way, and take some self-care as well. you know I think for me, getting through this tour, literally it was self-care that got me through it without sounding ippy dippy. It was, and manuka honey. I've lots of manuka honey.
Manuka honey's good. Lots of things that are good. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I always say the same. And I've got some private vocal students as well. And there's a few in particular that, seem to be getting swept up in sort of where they want to be. And I keep pulling it back to just go and enjoy it. Just go and enjoy it.
Yeah.
Just go and enjoy it. Because I think the more I say it, maybe the more it will resonate without sort of like preaching. You know what I mean? Because I think
Yeah.
the enjoyment has got to be number one.
Yeah.
Otherwise, there's no bloody point
No
in it.
point. There's no point if you don't enjoy it. No point.
Absolutely.
And it is so easy to get swept up in where you want to be without just taking a breath and going, actually, where am I? And
Yeah,
appreciating where you've got already. Um,
exactly.
and I think you do forget that. You kind of go, oh, it's not successful, and you get all caught up in that. But then you go, actually, look at it from an outside perspective and go, it is successful. You're doing a job that you love doing. Not many people can say that. So, look at where you are now and appreciate that before you start getting too caught up in where you want to be.
Exactly. Exactly. I couldn't say it better myself. So Chantel's going to have, she's got a new album out. It is remarkable. Gigs are starting again in August. Go on, check her out, see where she's playing. I've recommended you to a lot of my students, a lot of the guitarist students who, to go to come and look at. So that I'm trying to encourage the younger ones to go and see more music that is not at a 2,000 cap venue or whatever it is and bigger, to invest in artists that are legitimate, that are on stage giving blood, sweat and tears every night, and you are absolutely one of them, Chantal. You're just remarkable. And I will be at the lamp shouting
Yeah.
very loudly
Oh, good.
because I've got bloody foghorn voice.
I'll expect heckling now.
Only heckling in a lovely, she's had too much vodka and she loves you kind of way.
That sounds good to me.
Yeah. And I'll bring some licorice, all right?
Do you know, I'll be sick of licorice by then. I keep going to B&M and buying it, and it's like, oh, I need to stop doing this.
You'll have to tell me, and I'll bring your thing of choice at the time. But thank you so much, Chantel. It's been amazing speaking to you as always. Love you big time, girl.
Thank you so much. Love you.
Thanks, Chantel. That was huge fun and a great insight to the rigours of an intensive tour. A link to Chantel's website and her latest album can be found in the show notes. Next week, I will be returning to the offstage perspective by interviewing Ross Muir, who runs the Fabrications HQ music blog website, as well as supporting artists in their press and promotional work. Ross is in close touch with our scene, and I'm looking forward to hearing what he has to say. Thank you for listening and watching, and I'll see you next week.